and other social media have been asking me to do a video, and I promised one in the preseason I wasn't able to get to. So levels, and then logical when it comes to sports and things in general, and to even suggest that out of range for me. So I'm gonna explain why I think that it'd be a good idea. And we have a few people in here so far. I'm gonna get in the super chat. I forgot how to do this. Guys, let me know how the quality is too. I'm doing this downstairs, and my internet's kind of flaky down here sometimes. I don't know. My house is old. The walls are plastered. Wi-Fi goes in and out. So I'm gonna tweet the link here, and hopefully some other people join. This is gonna be a little bit more casual than previous conversations. I'm just gonna, just I don't know, just more casual feel to it. So I know, I mean, hoopla, but I might not just have all the stats, and honestly, I don't keep up with them like I did. So balance 440, Aaron Wise. Hey guys, Jeremy Turner, Sean DeBoer, a lot of familiar faces. I apologize if the video quality is kind of bad. But let's start with the elephant in the room right now, Jim Harbaugh. There is a portion of the Michigan fan base that wants to see him fired. And, you cite the record against top 10 teams, the road, success during big games on the road. And I still say include Iowa in that. Iowa wasn't ranked at the time, but that loss in 2016 most definitely was a major contributor to Michigan not making the playoff in 2016. And now to go back, that's one of the points that I want to say. People act like he wasn't almost in the playoff in his second year. Yeah, year 5, it's not going where Michigan fans wanted it to go. The past, 3 big games blown out, I think it's by like a 24-point differential or something like that. They've been getting their butts kicked, put it that way. And a lot of questions about the defense. I don't think fire Harbaugh is the answer. You're not going to axe the head coach. You're not going to axe Jim Harbaugh. I do think there are some issues to be addressed, but that argument to me is completely insane. I don't know if any of you out there support it. If you are, let's just get a show of hands of people watching right now. If you're in favor of firing Jim Harbaugh, let me know, and let me know why. And it can't be because you're just don't let your fandom dictate it. Oh, I'm sick of it. Who else is going to come in there and do a better job than Jim Harbaugh, or at least effort-wise, or at least at this time, regardless of what people talk about, they're not going to fire Jim Harbaugh. If he leaves, he's going to step away under his own terms. And the reason why I even bring this up is because I saw a tweet from Brett McMurphy of ESPN earlier today, and there's people that are already setting odds on who will coach Michigan next year if Jim Harbaugh is not the coach. So I'm not just pulling this stuff out of thin air. You guys know that I don't do that, and I typically don't like to get involved in all the sensationalism, but it's just so prevalent out there. And then the fact also how a lot of it seems a lot of writers have kind of used read that Pete Thamel column, and you guys, if you want me to tell you the Pete Thamel story, I will, from last year at Big Ten meeting days, Big Ten media days. Aaron Wise, he's gotten worse. Developed the players he's recruited. These guys don't look like the same players. I mean, do they? The attitude looks a lot different. I'll say that. And again, I'm not down there. I don't cover Michigan. I'm just going by my observation. I still have connections. I still talk to some people, but I'm by no means, probably at the level that I was last year. And again, you guys, I'm just somebody on YouTube talking about now what I read. A lot of the information isn't going to be firsthand anymore. Make sure the people that you're listening to, and I've said this a million times, make sure they're actually down there and they're real bona fide media members. No green screen, Schembechler Hall, or any of that nonsense. So Jeremy says, Asim says, I can't read anymore, guys. Don't fire Harbaugh, but Don Brown's defense has been figured out and has too many flaws. Gaddis is too inexperienced and was a bad hire, which unfortunately should fall on Harbaugh. I mentioned this earlier, and a couple people accused me of trying to troll Michigan fans. It wasn't a troll. I mean, imagine, and we talked about this in the past, even before Josh Gaddis was hired. We were talking about this before when Jim McElwain got hired. We were talking about this, and they had all these McDaniels and everybody, or Ben Daniels for offensive analyst, and then Pep Hamilton. Why can't they just keep at least one piece of the offensive staff, specifically in offense, saw eye to eye, and Jed was still there? I can tell you this with great confidence. There was a personal rift, and that's why Jed Fish is not at Michigan. So that's what I know. I can tell you that, and I've known that, and a great sourcing on that. Jed had great relationships with quarterbacks, and I guess it's just at some point he and Jim did not get along. So I could say that with great certainty that was one of the reasons why Jed Fish was no longer at Michigan. But imagine if they had the same coordinator there for more than 1 year. I mean, these players are learning new philosophies, new techniques every single year on offense. That can't be good. And while it hadn't been, I guess, a major issue, I mean, we saw some things last year. We saw some things in 2017. This year, it seems really evident. And then if you look at the background, and I'm not knocking Josh Gaddis, I'm just saying I don't believe that he's the right guy for this job right now. And performance-wise, I think it's been clear. And I read that he was hired based on a 20-minute interview. There was not a one-on-one. There was not a face-to-face interview, which blows my mind completely. So I want to stay on topic for fire Harbaugh going out on a limb as far as I've ever gone in terms of Michigan football. But I think there's a case and an argument, and a logical, sound argument about possibly giving the nod to Joe Milton Saturday. So let's stay on the Harbaugh topic. I'm only going to stay on here for about 15 minutes. Hey guys, let me know what the quality looks like. On my laptop, it looks like junk, but on my phone, it looks good. So let me know how the quality is. So, Brandon Gamble, do you think something is going on in the locker room? I think it'd be fair to assume, and you guys look and you hear players talking about how there's a lack of identity and that they came in unprepared. I'm not going to say, and don't twist words. I'm not saying, oh, Michigan has an internal issue with the problem. But I can tell you this, they're not having fun. And yeah, there's going to be back that sort of thing. I can't directly confirm that that's not a media number. I'm not down there all the time. The takeaway from this. I'm not saying there's a place. Yeah, I would say that is the case for some of these guys. Yes. But I don't think it's right. It's a anti-Harbaugh locker room divided type of thing. I don't think that's the case, and I don't want that to I don't want you to think that that's what I'm saying, because I'm not. James Sordell says it's lagging a bit. I'm sorry, guys. Let me see. Aaron Wise says listen to Yoder. Joe Milton's still there. I thought Joe Milton was going to transfer. Jeez, James, get your shit together, buddy. Yeah, with it being more casual, not. I mean, I always kind of act to this way anyway, but it'll be more casual. I may have a slip of the tongue if I swear and it offends you. I'm sorry, but 4-letter words are definitely in my vocabulary. I toned it down for you guys a lot of times because I don't want to just be on here. Wendy Jackson says, I'm conflicted about firing Harbaugh. We can't keep firing coaches every 3 to 4 years, but I don't see the same fire Harbaugh used to have. He looks defeated. I will say this, and Whitney, that's a good point. I mean, this year he does look like something's bothering him. He does. He looks uncomfortable. I've watched press conferences, and again, I'm not down there. It does look different. There's a physical, just a different look in his face, and losing, and there's still criticism after beating Middle Tennessee. There's still criticism after beating Army. I mean, this is such a high pressure job. It can be draining at times, I'm sure. Jeremy says Brandon Jake ring true a little bit. Jeremy, and I actually had that conversation with a friend, Jared Jansen. Actually, I talked to him yesterday. If you guys remember, Jared used to shoot my press conference 5 years, and then all of a sudden, things not. 10 games in 3 of his first 4 years. Michigan is a good team. I don't think it's a case for an emergency. I think it's time to pause and take a hard look at some things. But I don't think it's, and I realize there's a fraction of the fan base that has just really had it. And I mean, I guess I can understand if you're that but you got to understand that because you're that emotionally invested in it doesn't mean anything. I mean, and I'm not being disrespectful, but your emotional investment in Michigan football, that's great. But at the end of the day, they're not catering to your emotions. I'm sorry to say, as much as Michigan fans would like to believe it, I think they're not catering to your emotions. I don't want to say that they don't care how you feel, but they don't care how you feel. Tebow, when did you get back? First video back, Tebow. I want to get through. Let me know if you guys are done with the Harbaugh discussion. I want to move on to Milton because I feel like I have at least some valid point. James, Jimmy Sordell, I appreciate the feedback. Sean DeBoer, do you think fiery Harbaugh will make a return because of his frustrations? I mean, I don't know. I'm not in Jim, and that would be a very interesting place to visit. Jim Harbaugh's head. What's inside his head? I don't know what he's thinking. Has he? I don't know if I'm not ready to say that he's lost the fire, but there is something different. There is something noticeably different. So, and again, this was an embarrassing loss. He's heard all the criticism before. They say it's that they're blocking out the outside noise. Well, how do you know there's outside noise if you don't hear it and if you're not listening to take over the position? Adam Walney, that's an interesting question because according to those odds that I tweeted out earlier that Brett McMurphy referenced, Urban Meyer, I'm seeing Babers of Syracuse, he was mentioned. Um, I haven't even given it that much thought beyond that point. People are bringing up former Michigan players. Somebody tweeted me earlier today and suggested Charles Woodson, and I said no because Charles Woodson has no coaching experience. It's not a first timer's job. There was a reporter out of Boston. I forgot who it was. I retweeted him, and they mentioned Tom Brady wins the seventh Super Bowl ring and retires and goes to coach Michigan football. That's not going to happen. I mean, they got to get. I don't know if they just do this stuff to tease Michigan fans because I think there are those type of Michigan fans that be like Charles Woodson, get Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the head coach. Charles Woodson is the defensive coordinator. That'll work. That'll work. Michigan's already tried a legend. That was Tyrone Wheeler. That didn't work out. And Tyrone had plenty of coaching experience. That's not the answer. And I think once you start hearing suggestions like that, it just kind of proves that there is a little bit of desperation. That people just want to see something. And when you're desperate, you don't think clearly all the time. So I would caution against that. AL says the minority has become the majority almost overnight. Joel Brown says, is this going to be a regular occurrence? The Biggs is back. I don't know about regular, but I'll try. My internet connection seems to kind of suck right now, at least on my computer. Let me know what it looks like for you guys. And we're approaching almost 20 minutes. So yeah, let's get to the Milton thing, and then we'll open it up, and if you guys want to hear more of this, maybe we could do it more often. But I don't think I'm going to do it like I used to because I simply don't have the time, and there's not enough for me to personally talk about because I'm not down there just asking a bunch of questions and then telling you guys about it. So my idea of Joe Milton, and this is a hypothetical situation only, and yeah, I had his numbers up earlier. He's like 3 of 4 the risk. Low risk. Why get Shea forceful situation to where I just don't see why not give Joe Milton a shot. I'm not saying Al Shea is the starter. Shea is the starter. But this week, it's Rutgers. It's at home. This would be the window for it. And that's the only time I suggest this. I'm not saying start Joe Milton, Shea Patterson's not the starter anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, hypothetically speaking, if Shea Patterson is just so beat up right now, why put him out there at further risk? And they're going to need, a top-notch Shea Patterson if they hope to compete for a Big Ten title. If that is the case, then to me, it would make sense. Well, try out Joe Milton. I mean, he's your next healthiest quarterback. He's your only other option. And then if need be, if Joe can't get it done and say, okay, Shea's got to go in there, you got to make something happen, you're the only option. That's what I suggest. And some people agreed. I think some people disagreed, but I think there are a few people out there who actually agreed and thought that it was a good idea. So let me know your thoughts on that, guys. Aaron Wise says, let Shea heal. Aaron Wise says, I say start Milton. Shea is clearly hurt. If it takes Shea to beat Rutgers. This team is in much bigger trouble than what we think, and that's a good point too. Someone else brought up that I think it was Alex Bricker. He tweeted me and said, "Well, or no, it was Robert. It was Robert on Twitter, at Robert3516 or something like that. I don't know, but it's Robert, and he says it could be a confidence builder for Shea because it's Rutgers, and I agree with that too. So there are two sides to every story, two sides of the coin, whatever. But I'm with you, Aaron. If they can't beat Rutgers with Joe Milton, then there is a problem. And again, I'm saying hypothetically speaking, if your average gamer says if Shea's 100%, play him to get him into a rhythm, not played up. Well, your average gamer, he's not. He is not 100%. That's clear. And I don't know how injured he is, but he is beat up. And there's a difference between injured and beat up. We've talked about that in the past. Hurt and injured are two different things. He's hurting. I guarantee it. He's been getting pummeled this year. He has had no protection. This offensive line last year we're talking about, and in 2016, 17, it was getting there. 18, we're like, whoa, this offensive line has really developed. We'll have to talk about the defensive line at another time because we're going on 22 minutes. I want to eat another dinner, and then I'm probably going to hit the sack around 10 o'clock. Going to bed early these days. No more staying up all night writing. Aaron Weiss is lagging really bad. Yeah, I apologize for that, guys. I'll have to see. I'll have to try to maybe reconnect and connect. I don't know. It looks fine on my phone. I just wanted to go and discuss it. So I'm sorry that the quality sucked. Hopefully the audio didn't. I appreciate everybody joining. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. And always up to talk college football, Michigan, Michigan State, Big Ten, sports in general. So,